Hello, dear friends. My name is Vasily, RN6 LHF. I'm glad to see you here on my YouTube channel, RN6 LHF. Yes, Hubert, and your jokes about voice oil. Yes, I'm. I'm just use a cup of tea, and to make my voice better after 1 hour of streaming, but all is okay now, and we can start. And here we go. Today we will talk about Expert 3, about progress of Expert Electronics company, about plans to next year. We will discuss about your questions from online chat from this stream, and I'll try to inform you about what was made in this 22nd year now, and we will discuss about software functions, what was added to Expert 3, about important functions, and about important new features which will be added to Expert 3 software next year. And now, firstly, I want to thank you all here on my YouTube channel. I want to thank you about your feedback to Roman, to GitHub, because direct feedback from you is the best way to make Expert 3 better, to make our radios better, and new interesting ideas which you send to our GitHub or maybe directly to Roman can make and make it better, and I want to thank you all about for it. Firstly, I want to say it was a difficult year for our company, maybe for all, and the main issue for us it's a limited numbers of engineers here in our location. We have here at the Radio University, but real engineers it's limited, and we can't find already and wanted engineers. We are looking for it every time, and we just start to work with our college and university as teachers, and from summer of 2022 we're working with students, and we studying students, and here in our company we have classrooms, and we working with students here. We give to the information about what is it radio, how it works, about schematics. We are studying students of programming in programming way, in the schematic way, in hardware way, hardware parts. It's like a construction designing of construction radio devices, and we hope it can help us to get new young engineers to make their skills better, and we want to help to our university and to our college to be better, maybe because as you know, as your radio, it's a peak of progress. And sorry. And I think it can make better our progress and make it faster for us, for all you, and for us too. And yeah, we work and we go next in this way. The main idea. Sorry, I try to switch. Second, 1 second, please. Okay, I'm ready. Second, I want to say you and talking about what's made this year, 22nd year, in our radios. Firstly, the main changes and main improvement which was made, it was updated protocol for data exchange between radios and between computers and between PC, because as you know, in summer Windows was updated in summer and give all us big problems with scratches and sound, and especially when you use browsers or different other different software, and it can broke our stream between radio and computer and PC, and it give us artifacts in audio and working of radio, and the protocol was changed first time in 10 years because the protocol of data exchange was created in 2011, firstly for Sun SDR2 radios, which works and for today, and we think about, yes, we should now change it, update it, and it was done, and now audio from computer sounds good, and we can make other steps next. Second thing, it was CW core, because all you know, and CW is very important and difficult structure in SDR radio, because when you connect CW key to the radio and you are listening, monitoring CW signal from radio, it works excellent, because some SDR devices includes CW core on board. But when you use, for example, encoder 2 panel, when you use keying from loggers, and when you're trying to monitoring from sound cards or others, when you're trying to record audio from CW, for example, for contests, it gives you many problems before, I think, October or November 22. And now we finished new CW core. We using it in all you using it in 1 month, or maybe something more. And now we can say yes, CW core works excellent now, and we can use it as a basic solution for CW. Hi all, just connect to my stream. Good evening, or maybe good morning. And go next. Happy New Year. Yes, and Happy New Year too. And now we have 3 parts which can make all software-defined radio, our software-defined radio, more stable. It's a new XPortZR3. It's a stable protocol between radio and PC. It's a new CW core which located in radio in encoder 2 panel in the XPortZR3 software, and it can make better SDR radio fully. And third part of its TCI microprocess, which used by external software like log-HX, 5M contests, and other loggers like OM log and all other loggers, log4OM, for example, and all they used CW microprocess, which sends via TCI interface. And now in all solution it was CW core located in XPortZR3 software. It gets microprocess and generates CW keying from software to radio via LAN. And now CW core includes CW microprocess generator in the hardware, in transceivers. And logger sends TCI macros via TCI to software, XPortZR3 software, and XPortZR3 software, transferring it as a text, as a macros to radio, and radio generates CW keying directly from CW core to radio air, and it's a good solution because it make more stable CW keying. I think it's like a WinK. It's mostly concept because you are send macros to hardware, and hardware generates CW keying, and it's okay. It's stable solution. And the next step for us, it's updating all full firmware, like a full solution, because now we have new CW core, CW microprocess core from TCI, but firmware was created in 2011 also, and we have some limits for developing, which stop us to make it to go next, and we should make a full update of firmware and be ready to make new improvements and to get new progress. And in our plans, I'm going next year. In our plans to change firmware fully, it will include new CW core, which already done, CW microprocess, and we should update firmware, and at the same time put here full duplex, and after it firmware will be ready for pre-distortion, for example. I think we should put here ALC, but I'm not so like ALC function because it has small delay which can destroy your external amplifier. But we have many requests about it, and it will be added. Also, XPortZR3 will be improved basically because we have a big list suggestions about it, and after New Year holidays, I think we will publish a new list with new functions. The new thing in 22-23 next year it will be 2 dates with expert. There are 3 release dates. I think it can be sound like this. Expert, there are 3 release dates. It will be 7th May and will be 25 December. These dates will be in these dates we will plan to release official release 2 times a year, and between these dates we will work about we will work under Expert 3 software, and we will release test versions, alpha, maybe beta versions, but 2 times in year in our plans to release versions. And we have a list for today with a list of versions, a list of functions which will be added to Expert 3 software, and it should be here before 7 May. Okay. And next step in next year, it will be a new remote Expert remote systems. As you know, it for today it works, but with some limits. The limits is big delay in SSB mode. SSB mode for TX. In TX mode, it's about 1.5 and up to 2 maybe seconds. It's a really limit for transmitting mode. I tried and it's not working. And CW core, which should be we should put it to ERS system, Expert remote system, and we testing it now. All you testing it this CW core, and it looks good. And I think we are ready to put it into remote system, and it's really good news for those who dreaming about remote control from quiet village like me. I have a Sunzer 2DX in the village and antennas and really quiet air, and now for today I can just listen it. I'm not working in FT8 mode. Maybe sometimes a couple times in a year, and I want to listen and working in SSB mode and maybe CW, and I'm really waited with you, and next couple maybe months, and we will try to edit and release it. And we are waiting now from New Year's holidays more feedbacks about working with CW core to make a decision to go next about adding it to Expert remote system. Also, if you have friends, if you have questions, maybe some requests for me, just send it via stream chat, and I'll try to answer you, and we will discuss something, because in the previous stream I have many questions about diversity reception, 2 ADCs on board, about UHF band in radios, about full duplex and pre-distortion modes. Sorry. And we have a big discussion about it, and it was nice. Okay. CW for remote, yes. Yes, dreaming about it. Often just CW missing. Yes, I'm not working in CW yet, but really I want to study it and CW and also working as you. Predistortion, any hopes when? Andy Mayer. Yes, as I said before, new firmware for all radios should include full duplex mode, and it will be as a first step before predistortion mode. In the hardware all ready for it, and as I said, we should create a stable platform, and latest version of firmware will be the latest bricks in full construction, and now after it we can implement predistortion modes. About diversity reception, we should use two ADCs, but as you know, in all our radios there is no two ADCs for predistortion mode. But we think about synchronous reception from two devices, and it's interesting solution, but we will think about it after new firmware. As you know, also about UHF band, I have a couple of questions, and transverter modes. We're working under a new antenna switch for transverting modes. I think I'm told about antenna switch in Expertise 3 software, because firstly, as we started works with transverted mode, we think about full antenna switch with all antenna connectors. But as a first step in transverted mode, it was ADC in and DAC out connectors. And now, after testing, we ready to implement antenna switch with all connectors. And I think in next official release, I hope it will include full control antenna input-outputs, because there is a couple of limits for controls. For example, it's based on limits of power amplifier, of HF band, VHF band, and we should analyze your information about intermediate frequency, and we should give you limits to typing of numbers of high frequencies, and it takes a couple of time. As mentioned by others, VST plugins will give you the best noise reduction available. Yes, Martin Smith, it's a good idea, and we have plans about VST plugins. We know how to edit, but it's not a high priority function, but yes. Separate max power output level for tune slider. Yeah, to be able to set this to this 10 watts max. Okay, I understand. It's interesting idea. If you can, Dave, please send a request to GitHub, because I first time listen and reading this suggestion, and it's really a good idea, because some customers can send maximum output power, but at the same time, when you set limits, but no, if you're working with power amplifier, you can set limits for all frequencies, for all bands, but I think you mean something different, only for tune. Interesting ideas. Please send to our GitHub like opinion. spots as in V2. I have slow PC, just good enough to run V2 with small. I can run third-party software at the same time. Therefore, I like spots in V2. Yes. As I said before, we are working with young men's students, and we have a good heads here, and they working under spot utility, radio spots we call it, and here we a small utility which can be connected via TCI to Expertise 3, and this utility can be connected to unlimited quantity of servers, cluster servers, and will collect spots and will send it to Panorama, and I think it's the same as you want. Hi Vasily, any date for stable ARS release version? I think it may be in a couple of months, because we should spend January for testing CW core. After it, we can add it to ERS. At the same time, to fix bugs with SSB delay in TX mode, because in DG modes it works excellent, and it should work the same and in SSB and at the same time in CW. For the amp tune, yes, Dave, I understand. As I'm working like set 30%, maybe 15% tune slider and working in the, but you want to have a limit of maximum output. It's correct. Good day, Pat. Hello all everyone who just connected to my stream. I am glad to see you here, and go next. I still have problems with SunSDR 3, I think Expertise 3, and my Mac Mini M1 processor. Very often it crashes. We are not have Expertise 3 for M1 processor for Mac Mini, and I think we will start working about it when first official release of Expertise 3 will be published, and next we can add it to M1. We should buy any Mac PC with M1 processor. We have a couple of PCs, Mac computers here, but no one with M1 processor. I think it's a limiting for us for today. I think we will buy it next year and we'll add it, because M1 processor, it's not Intel processor, it's an ARM processor, and it requires additional working with it, additional developing, adapting the Expertise 3 software for this processor. But we have some success with it, because we have core DSP core for Raspberry Pi processor based on ARM processors, and I think we can work with special DSP libraries for it, and I think when we will get Mac computer based on M1 processor, we will add it. Okay, A2 and A3 antenna ports option for transverter function for us that have single IF on transverter. Yes, I understand you, Tom. It's a next step of transverter modes. We have discussion about it in a couple weeks ago, and we have a plan how to do it. And in next year, it's one of high priority tasks for us to make transverter mode better. Any plans for new hardware? Sanzar 2DX with pin diode switching, totally quiet RX-TX switching would be lovely one day. Why not? Why not? We have some experience with pin diode switching, and I think now we have some success with it. Why not? And at the same time, maybe UHF band here on board. I'm dreaming about UHF mode here, and we have some experience with it. If you send to ADC input UHF signal, you can find it on frequencies about 30, 35, 32 megahertz, and you can see that it can be received without any issues, and it requires additional filters for this band because it's maybe 5th or 6th Nyquist zone, and it requires to filter in from other Nyquist zone, but it's really possible because the zone starts from 400s and finished up to in 480, and amateur band located at central of this Nyquist zone. It can be filtered. In my mind, it's will be good solution in the hardware with pin diode quiet switching, for example. Why not? Now we're working with students and we expand our stuff, and why not? Maybe next year it can be upgraded with new features. Make me wonder whether you guys sleep. Yes, Martin. Okay, wait. Vasily, when do you implement full functions on button on MB1? Yes, it's also my ask for programmers, because I have MB1 radio on my working table with the 1.5 kilowatts from experts amplifiers, SPI amplifiers, and I'm waiting MB1 GUI, and I'm waiting full functions button. It's one of priority tasks for programmers for next months, and it will be in the first before 7 May official release. I'm trying to make it earlier for us and for me too. Guns. Okay. It will be nice if an anti-tuner software such as Hiego could be installed. Anti-tuner software. I don't know, Aaron. We are our politics to support just our own hardware, and it's difficult to support other manufacturers' devices when it works. We cannot guarantee how it will be works. I know some guys used control from X control connectors to control external ATUs. I don't know about it. Lowly, thank you for answering, Frank. Thank you too, Frank, and thank you all for your questions. I can say every time, and I can repeat it many times, because just your questions and your direct feedback to us, to our company, and for me also give us way to make it better in the with the short way, I don't know, faster, and make it better, because from 2011, when SunSDR 2, when the first direct conversion transceiver, DDC transceiver, was manufacture it. We we got thousands and maybe more feedbacks from you, and we with you made it better. And I think in the main idea for me, like I think maybe like a religion of our company, to listen all you and listen and understand you, and in discussion with you, trying to find best way for realization of new functions, new features of maybe new architecture of radios, and most of all interesting functions was we got from you and in discussion with you, and we are always opening for dialogue, and I think it's important for our company to listen you, and we'll try to. I'm trying like a chief of company to save it, to save this, and this idea, and maybe multiply it when our company will be expanded, and maybe in one day Roman will be streaming with you, and I will be watching for him and trying to save it, dialogue with you. Thanks for your answer. Releases 7th May 20. Yes, major releases will be at 7th May and 5th December. Small incremental change between. Yeah, sure. It's because we are working in the couple of years, and in previous years we are working not stable in function priorities, and who make noise bigger with functions, with maybe other issues. It was said at firstly, but stable of programming, and the programmers requires stable working and stable concept in programming. And now we collect all feedbacks, we divide it by priority, we create list of functions, and now we're working under these functions. If we have bugs in version, it has highest priority. If we have critical bug in the previous version, it has very high priority. And at the same time, we're working under list. And when we set major version days, like 7th May or 25 December, we know that in this day we will get release. I think it's good, and also for sure we will release a test version, because most of you want to try something new, and try to experimental to make some experiments with new versions, and you love it, and you love to give feedback, and because you are very important men who make like this. But I'm a conservative man, and I'm using ExpertZR2 on my MB1 radio, because I'm waiting MB1 style GUI. And yes, but in the contests on our position R7LV, Radio 7 Lima Victory, we used ExpertZR3 with SunZR2DX software. It's some middle version from October I'm not remind a version, but it's at middle alpha. Alpha may be better version. It works stable in CW. It works stable in SSB. Some cracks in audio, and it fixes like a push PTT foot switch and release it like 1 second, maybe less, and it works well. And it's good for us because, as you know, contestation requires stable parameters of your radio, and we use it. But after New Year holidays, I think we will update it to latest version. Maybe we will finish Russian HF Cup contest in 7 or 8 January, and after working in this contest, we will upgrade software to latest version. Vasily, the button RTTY, will that be only FSK or will you implement FSK? It's like FSK because in classical radio you have super heterodyne schematic, which include mostly two frequency mixers, and you can and you put into the first mixers a carrier, and you can move this carrier like a RTTY signal, first and second tone position. But in SDR radio, we have one mixture, software mixture in firmware in the radio. It looks like a direct digital conversion. It's an IQ mixture, and second mixture in Expert Z3 software. And when we put carrier via audio to first mixture in TX mode, it's like it's the same like FSK mode. It's no different because software, RTTY software via digital channels sends carrier to radio. No any audio cables, any audio cables, and one of the main features which will be implemented to our SDR complex, SDR radio, will be digital modes and the real RTTY and the real maybe BPSK modes. We know how it works and we have some experience. We played with it, and it will work directly without any cables via TCI, maybe via like a main part of Expert Z3 software, like a modes, RTTY modes, BPSK, and so on. And I think there is no difference now for today between AFSK and the FSK, and it's every time good quality signal, low level of splitters, and there is no any problems. I think it's a good idea to use customers as a part of R&D. You then produce exactly what we want. Salicraft started this. Also, my experience of your support is excellent. Martin Smith. Yes, Martin, you are right, and we have feedback from some customers who told us your support excellent, the same as Salicraft. It's good. Good words for us, and thank you. Yeah, and then produce exactly what we want. Yes, but sometimes ideas flying and can give us crazy ideas as a limits. But in discussion we can find really good ideas, and if many hams ask the same idea, it will be for us it will be like a true, I think, reality, and it will have a high priority. So it's full duplex coming soon. Full duplex coming in new firmware. I think it will take a couple of months. I hope it will be before 7 May. Maybe some later, but new firmware which should include full duplex in high priority now, because we have limits to add new features to firmware, to software, and these limits, it's a firmware, and we're working on it. Yes. Raspberry Pi 4 2 gigabytes is enough to run ERA image. Yes, it's enough. It's enough, and we have on our website an image for Raspberry Pi. You can try it. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe there is not correct information, but we can change it on our website. Okay, Raspberry Pi, I'm also waiting it for my remote position, because I have here the industrial PC based on Windows. It's nice to connect it via remote desktop, but for long stable working, Raspberry Pi is a good solution, because we have experience in the Raspberry Pi 3 with old version of remote control was used, I think, in a couple of years, or maybe 1.5, 1.5 and 2 years. It was placed into the box, and the box we put on the mast, and it worked in the summer or winter with about minus 20 degrees here in Rostov region, and it works excellent, Raspberry Pi. But sometimes our Calibri DDC receiver freezes for unknown for unknown reasons, and we added to Raspberry Pi additional control, power control for Calibri DDC, and we have a button in the special version of my remote control, and we can reset power supply for Calibri DDC. Let's see how it will works with new Raspberry Pi and with new expert remote system. We'll see. Thanks for the implementation of for meters that was just allowed in HB9. Also for the squelch in SSB. It will, Erwin, it will be surprised for me. A surprise function is a squelch in SSB, like in a professional radio, like in marine radio, as I know, they used squelch in SSB. If it useful function, I'm glad. I'm glad for you. Okay, for meters band, we think about maybe other buttons for other bands for different Nyquist zone. We'll see. Guns, please don't forget to enable the transverter port on the MB1. Yeah, sure, because in MB1 radio there is much more ports, antenna ports, and special ports for transverter mode. You're right, Hans. Dear friends, thank you very much for this time. I should finishing for today. First, I want to say I want to all thank you for your time, for your connection, for this stream today, and for your staying with us with our radios, and we working all with you about it. I want to wish you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's holidays, and see you next year. We are starting to work in 8 or 9 January, and we'll see you next year. Thank you, Vasily. I think it's great that you maintain regular contacts with us, user. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Hubert, for your wishes. I think all our staff, from me and from our staff, I wish you happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and see you next year, dear friends. Here was Vasily, RN6 LHF, and see you next year. Bye bye.